brushing your hair, putting the mayonnaise in your hair. She doesn't do that.
Okay.
Shaving your back.
We are not supposed to talk about mayonnaise.
You have no right to give advice, dude. You are about the lowest life. You can't even know.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grimm. As you can see from that insane intro, Ed is about to get trashed on this stage during this 90-day single life tell-all. This is part 2. If you missed part 1, make sure you go back and check my last video, as there was a lot of ground we covered in the last episode. But yeah, today is going to be the battle of the cringe titans. But instead of Ed versus Colt, it's actually going to be Ed versus Colt's mom, because as we all know, she has to fight all the battles for him, and everyone just loves to talk trash about Ed. That's just like the best thing you could possibly do on the show. So make sure you watch until the very end, because things are about to get heated. But without any further ado, let's just get into it.
Your son dates a lot of younger women. Does Ed need somebody his own age?
Not his own age, but maybe 10 years younger or in that proximity.
So first things first, they have Ed's mom on here, Norma, and the host asks her if she believes that Ed needs to find someone his own age. And this is the first problem we have here. His mother enables him as well. She coddles him. She says, no, it doesn't need to be his age. Maybe, you know, she can be like 10 years younger. That's good. Like, no, clearly Ed is just too fixated on dating young women. It's just his track record of dating people that are half his age. So in my opinion, he needs to find someone his age. That's the only way it will work out, because these age gaps are just too much. He's not cool enough to keep up with it, and it's just never going to work out between him and someone who is younger than his own daughter.
I truly believe he thought he wanted a girlfriend and he thought he wanted a wife. I don't know what you want, but in my opinion, I don't think that's what he's looking for.
And even Liz admits here that Ed himself acts like he wants to be married and wants to be settled down, but it's very clear by his behavior of, you know, dating Liz, getting bored of her, breaking up with her, and immediately taking his, quote, sugar babies to Vegas. That behavior shows that he is just really trying to live the life of a young, like, celebrity. He thinks he's just such a god among men and just deserves to be going out to the club with all these young 20-year-old women, and they should be all over him because he's on a TV show now and he's famous. But it's just so sad that that is his goal ultimately, and he kind of threw Liz to the wayside just so he can go out and party as if he's in his 20s. Like, dude, you should be worrying about retirement, like I said, about to start your subscription to AARP magazine or something, dude. Like, you are a senior citizen. Chill out, take a step back, and sit down for me, please.
I feel like I was the one taken advantage of, and I feel like I was the one that was ultimately conditioned. I was constantly doing everything to give in to his ultimatums.
I very much agree with Liz here. She kind of said the same thing last episode, but I really do stand with her here. She is the one that has been emotionally manipulated this entire time, and I hate to say it, but Ed's mom does not help, especially the way that she talks to her son. That conversation when he was cleaning his like 4 Vespas earlier in the season, and he was talking about how he needs to ask Liz if she's the one and if she's ready to commit, as if he didn't already do that 1,000 times before that, making her uncomfortable. But when he was talking to his mom about that, she was like, yeah, and if she doesn't say that she's ready to marry you pretty much right then and there, you need to leave her, because you got to find someone that's ready to marry you. Like, I think this mom just desperately wants this whole era to be done with in her adult son's life. You know, this past 30 years of him being single and lonely and just needing attention from women. So I think she really just wants him to be able to settle down so she can chill out and like enjoy her, you know, last stage of life on this earth, not worrying about her 40 or 50-year-old son, maybe dying alone forever. You know, that's not something you want to worry about with your own kids. So I get why she's trying to encourage him and hype him up to find a wife, but her advice is really not helping here, and it's kind of just inflating his ego, if you ask me.
I don't know. It was awkward when we first met. I totally had rusty face. That wasn't my intention at all when we first met. I was very, very nervous.
And then they have Ed's daughter on stage, who is getting interviewed as well, and she's all like, yeah, I just don't really know you. Like, it was just kind of really awkward for me, and it was just not a fun time. And that's her apology pretty much, even though they just showed the clip of her saying, you know, Liz looks kind of crusty, or whatever the word was. Botox does wonders, which is like such a left field comment that was not required for her to say. If anything, she was just trying to destroy Liz's confidence by saying that, because she knew they were going to put that in the show. I honestly think Ed's daughter is incredibly rude and doesn't need too much screen time from us, but I did find it funny that that was her like pseudo apology. You know, I guess like father, like daughter, everyone in Ed's family just doesn't know how to properly apologize or be held accountable for their own actions. And it makes sense, because where would she learn that from? Definitely not from her dad.
I don't love myself. I just don't. I mean, I don't. I know that sounds stupid.
So the room goes completely silent as Ed brings back his classic manipulation tactic of, oh, wait, there's a lot of people and the eyes are on me and everyone's talking about the bad stuff I've done. Time to fake cry and, you know, just really pull on the heartstrings of the person I'm talking to. He has cried about 6 or 7 times throughout this. And look, I cry as much as the next guy, all right? You show me the intro of the movie Up, I will be bawling my freaking eyes out within 4 seconds. That's a guarantee. I'm not saying it's bad to cry, but the way that Ed uses it in this arsenal of his is what makes it like a disgusting act. The way that he's clearly trying to just manipulate the feelings and emotions of everyone around him every time he cries. We know you don't love yourself, dude. That's why you're so worried that Liz is gonna find someone else, because deep down you know that she can do way, way better, but you don't need to be crying about it on stage right now. That's something to talk about with your therapist, I think. Instead, be held accountable for your actions, please.
Your guys' relationship is between you two, and you guys have other underlining issues with your communication prior to this situation.
And I honestly do agree with the daughter here. They're kind of placing a lot of stock in her whole, you know, involvement in this breakup. And I do think that was definitely a traumatic event when they went down to Vegas to meet her and she was just totally rude the entire time, making fun of Liz to her face with her friends at the club. That is totally disrespectful, but I do not think she is the sole reason they broke up. It was probably the 1,000 other problems they had before that kind of compounded together and made it to where they had to just break up. Although, speaking of breaking up, this show is just such a freaking roller coaster with this couple, I swear. So this entire time Ed is crying, says he hates himself and, you know, it's his fault. He's done all this bad stuff. Of course, we knew that already. But as soon as the show takes a pause and they go on a 5-minute break, Ed comes over to the side of Liz's chair, kneels down, and starts telling her all this BS about how he's just so heartbroken. He was so excited to see her today and he still loves her so much. Oh, and it just instantly has her giggling. She's like staring into his eyes all googly. It makes no sense. Liz, why do you come crawling back to this slime ball every single time he saw his first opportunity to talk slick to her? He immediately comes and kneels next to her. Just such a slimy move. This guy is trying everything in his power to keep Liz, and it's disgusting to watch, especially because it for some reason works out. But anyways, let's fast forward. They start talking about Colt a little bit, which obviously this video is not about him, but when they bring his mom out, there is definitely a point of some tension, and this is like the best part of the video to me. Colt's mom versus Ed. Let's get it.
I think your mom needs her own independence so she can live her life. And I think you guys deserve to have your space, you know, your private space.
So the thing that pops it all off is Ed chimes in, you know, with just his genius life advice of your mom needs her own space and you two need your own space, you know. It's basically like this woman is about to marry your mother instead of you, which is so rich coming from him considering his mother lives with him as well. We didn't forget that, Ed, dude. It's the same situation, okay? Liz would be doing the same exact thing because you run to your mom every time you have relationship problems, much like Colt, and she feeds you the same BS just like Colt's mom does. It's the same thing, just a different set of families.
I think it's time for Colt to get off the nipple, and you need to stop fighting.
You. Oh my God. You.
Thank you very
You get
much.
off the nipple.
So actually the thing that fully makes it all pop off is Ed says that Colt needs to, quote, get off the nipple, which basically just means he needs to stop being coddled by his mother as if he is some baby that needs to be fed and taken care of 24/7. You know, he's a grown man. He knows how to live his life. Again, it's pretty rich coming from Ed, considering he's in the same boat. A little bit less severe, you know, Ed's mom stays out of his life a lot better than Colt's mom does, but still, she lives with him, so you can't be talking that much. But let's just see Debbie pop off here fully. I mean, this is just beautiful to watch unfold.
You want people to
She's
think you
amazing.
can get a
When are
beautiful
you gonna-
young girl
when are
to
you gonna
make
let
you happy?
Colt-
Why don't you
What?
find somebody that you're in love with instead of going after these poor little girls that think you're something, I don't know what.
And that is facts, Debbie. I mean, you have no right to talk about dating either. Your life is a mess, much like Ed's, but I'm glad you're speaking facts to him right now. He needed to hear that. He is thinking he's so high and mighty, and there's clearly still this tension between him and Colt, and that's why he's trying to act like he's above him and knows exactly how to fix Colt's problem. It's just so hilarious that he tried to act that way and immediately gets shut down by Debbie. I'm not the biggest fan of Debbie, but she is an absolute legend in my book now after that.
So people say, oh, this guy can get a 20-year-old. You don't care about how you feel about somebody. Why don't you find love instead of somebody that's a kid?
Yeah, Ed. Why don't you date someone else in their 50s instead of someone that's half your age, you freaking creep? That's what we've been saying this entire series. Thank you so much, Debbie. He needed to be told that to his face. I'm sure he has been before, but I mean, this is on camera. It's been documented now. You're a legend for this.
Why are you interrupting? I'm asking this young lady a question.
I think you're too close.
You don't know.
I know
So
this.
shut up.
His mother lives with him.
Man, Debbie is not having it, bro. She's not even giving Ed a single second to speak because she is over it at this point. I'm glad someone's speaking to Ed like this because it needs to happen. Like, this is 20 episodes too late. I've wanted to talk to Ed like this, you know, face to face this entire time, dude. You need to be taken down a peg or two because your ego is so inflated, especially after being on this show, that he just thinks he knows everything about everyone else's life, even though his is personally a mess. And he doesn't know jack about relationships or what it means to, you know, have a solid one with good foundation.
You are babying him. He's never
And your
going to
mother
grow
doesn't
up.
baby you by brushing
just-
your hair, putting the mayonnaise in your hair. She doesn't do that.
Okay.
Shaving your
We are not supposed to talk about mayonnaise.
Debbie hit a soft spot right there. You see how Ed just got so serious? Oh my god, dude. You don't talk about the mayonnaise incident to Ed's face. I'm sure he's sick of the hate for that, but it really is just, you know, one of the core facets of his personality. The man has mayonnaise hair, and it's something that cannot be avoided. I'm glad Debbie is taking all the skeletons out of his closet right now. This needed to happen, freaking mayo head.
Okay,
I
first of all,
don't brush his hair and put it in a ponytail
First of all,
like
it was-
your
she
mother
was-
does.
first
So
of all, she
maybe
was-
you should get off the damn nipple.
Debbie is absolutely popping off here, and that is the perfect example of why he is literally so hypocritical by telling Colt that he needs to separate from his mother. Earlier in the season, we literally watched Ed's mother help slather him in like nair around his whole body and puts his hair up in a ponytail for him and helped groom him. Dude, you are just as coddled by your mother as Colt is. It's just so funny. You could tell this man is projecting this entire time by saying all this stuff to Colt. I'm sure he wants to separate from his mother as well and be able to live his own life. But you know, he's just gonna say, no, I'm actually rich and successful, and I was helping my mom by letting her move in with me, even though, you know, yeah, she does all the laundry and chores for me, but still, I'm pretty much a cool son by making sure my mom isn't homeless while she's old. Like, I'm sure your mom could still have a home on her own, but she just wanted to live with you because it sounds like it's a good deal. And honestly, you two are attached to the hip, much like Colt and his mom. So sadly, they end up this episode on a cliffhanger as Brittany, the most boring person on this show that I literally have not even watched more than 5 minutes of this entire time, was not showing up. So they make this little cliffhanger of like, ooh, is Brittany gonna show up? We really don't care, but that is going to wrap it up for this part of the tell-all. There still is much more content coming very shortly within the next couple days. I'm gonna try to get that to you guys like ASAP. So make sure you subscribe and like this video if you want to see that next one, as well as hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. Thank you so much for the support on this series. I know some people out there aren't really feeling Ed, but this is nearing the end of the season, so just bear with me for now and let me know what other content you'd like to see down below in the comments. As always, I'll see you all in the next video, and until then, peace out.